Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys I actually want to do a discussion video on this, and I've kind of talked about this about a month or two ago, and I've heard a lot of people talk about it recently, ever since Dawn of Majesty came out, of how Konami, I don't want to say they've taken away power creep, but they've curbed, I feel like to some extent, power creep exponentially. They've curbed it. They put a curve on it, so to speak. Now, not saying that Konami doesn't make broken cards. You know, Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, Lightning Storm, Tactics Talents, Hand Traps. Yeah, the list goes on and on and on and on and on of powerful cards that have come out, you know, in very recent history. But saying that, if you look at the core sets nowadays that are coming out, they're different. And the way that Konami structures them and builds them is different than from the past. And that's what I want to talk about today, of how it feels like Konami's curbed power creep and what could be some of those reasons. So let's talk about this. Has Konami put a curb on power creep? It's debatable. Not saying they haven't made broken cards, but there has been definitely, you cannot deny, a tendency to more balance base sets that are coming out than there was 2 to 3 years ago. One thing you have to keep in mind, guys, that has changed over the course of the last year or two is not just Crush Card and everything going on, but also the fact that something else ended. What was it? Yes. The Yughioh anime. Now, granted, we got Yughioh 7s with Rush Duels. That is a thing, but Rush Duels is separate from what? The main series of Yughioh. So we haven't been seeing a lot of, I would say, pack filler, kind of, really? Like, we haven't seen a lot of just like random archetype of the day pack filler because it was in 1 or 2 episodes of the freaking anime. Like, we used to see this for years, probably since GX, if not the original series. That was a thing that Konami did for pretty much the entire history, where Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype of the Day comes out, we print Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype of the Day. That is our pack filler. And then we'll make 1 or 2 new archetypes, maybe 3, and we'll print maybe a powerful card that's a chase card, and maybe, you know, give maybe some new age support to an old, you know, theme or archetype, and, you know, a couple cards there, and now we're done. That's what Konami did for forever, guys. Like, you cannot deny that was the template, that was the model for base sets for years, probably over a decade, if that. And one thing that I've always noticed is if you really look at Yu-Gi-Oh! As a whole, how many broken cards have come out of the anime? I know some people out there have done videos about Seto Kaiba's most powerful cards, Yugi's most powerful broken cards that were played. And if you really look at that in a nutshell, you'll start to find out that there's a lot of powerful cards that came from the anime. Not everything broken came from the anime. I don't think there's anybody that ever played Necros. I don't think there's anybody that played Dragon Rulers. But there were cards that made those cards even more broken that came from the anime. There were. So it's kind of interesting when you look at that from that lens, just a bit of, there's a lot of broken cards that came out of the anime. There's just as, but there's even cards that became more broken because of anime cards. Pancreatops, guys, a card that splashed in everything, was an anime-based card. There are multiple, instances of this. Effect Veiler. Yusei Fudo. Just saying. Like, you see where I'm going with this. Like, you can go down the line here. I think Yusei used Effect Veiler, if I remember correctly, but there's a lot of examples out there. And there's been a definite change, I feel like, if you look at core sets again, since the end of the anime. That's what I'm trying to get at to you at this, as we talk about this. if you look at core sets and the way Konami releases them, they have changed fundamentally. We've seen a shift from putting pack filler from said anime to revisiting old archetypes and revamping them. A lot more. A lot more. Because if you look over the course of, let's just look at this past year, okay? Let's just look at that in a nutshell, okay? We got how much new archetypal support this past year for multiple decks. I have never seen so much archetypal support for old school archetypes in a year, except beside this year, and it even started last year. And we look at that. Look at the cover cards of all the sets that have come out this past year. We got Armed Dragon. We got what? Black Rose Dragon, I think it was the chase one for the other one. We got freaking Stardust Majestic thing. Then we got more stuff coming out. That's that. Then we got more Dark Magician support. Like, the list goes on and on and on. And there's been new archetypes, and even the new archetypes that are coming out are different than the anime ones. They don't seem as busted, really. Granted, they're good. Not saying they're not playable. Not saying they can top an event, but they're not. I don't know how to say it, guys. Like, uber super duper broken. Like tier 0? I mean, some people may say, oh, well, that archetype may do it. Maybe the sushi deck will do it. No, I doubt the sushi deck would do it. That would be awesome. But you know what I am trying to say. It is not dragon level tier. It is not Pepe format tier broken. It's not. And you look at the foreseeable future and you're just kind of going, Konami's doing something here. Now, granted, they print good staple cards now. We've gotten, over this course of the past couple years, we've gotten some good stuff. Tactics Talents. We got, the new pot card we got. That's pretty good. We've got a whole bunch of new stuff, as chase cards. But there's really not these broken archetypes. They've built really good archetypes that have their own flavor, their own flair to them, which is really cool. And on top of that, because they've gone away from the anime more, they've become more mature, it feels like. The archetypes, the artwork, it looks different to me. I don't know why. Granted, I think that, some of them are very, funky friendly, kid friendly, but like, the artwork looks just, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's anime-esque. It's a little bit different. I can't describe it unless you've really looked at the last couple of sets in detail. And you have to also see how much Konami's pulled on from their lore as well when it comes to these sets the past year and a half. It's really amazing. And it leads me to say that I am excited for the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I don't know what old school deck I have is going to get new support now. I don't. I never expect. It was a pipe dream for years that the Egyptian gods were going to get support. I thought it was just going to be generic support, but we got a boatload of Egyptian god support this year. That was a pipe dream. I didn't think Majestic Star Dragon was ever going to get support. It got support. I didn't think the Akiza archetype was ever going to get legit support like that. To become its own full-fledged deck, I couldn't. I didn't think Kunomalies were ever going to get more support. I didn't think this deck was going to get... I'm like, Utopia got its own flagship support. Utopia didn't need it. You could just use a rank 4 engine for the rest of Yu-Gi-Oh! And you've been pretty much okay. But nope, they said we're going to revamp it. So, because they've gotten away from the anime, they've drawn on old stuff, and they're bringing it up to date. And when you think about that, they're even making cards into full-fledged archetypes. The Charmer archetype was kind of dead in the water. Konami's like, here! You want a Charmer deck? You voted on it? You get it. You want Shaddolls? You get it. You want Egyptian gods? You get it. Like, is that Konami? I know Konami does a whole bunch of crazy stuff. I know they're having trouble printing cards right now, but overall, I feel like they're doing an amazing job. From my perspective of playing this game, as long as I have, there's a definite change of how Konami is doing things. when it comes to card design, when it comes to making the cards and printing them, to thinking of the meta. It's a lot different, it feels like, to some degree. People might say, no, it's Konami. It's always going to be the same thing. There's been a change. And I don't know how drastic it's going to be and where it's going to go. Maybe it could just be because Crush Card's around right now. But you got to admit, guys, that there's been a change. In some way, shape, or form, they have changed the way they create core sets, their card design, and it just feels like they've curved power creep to some degree. Granted, there are still broken cards out there. That will always be a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! You could ban all these powerful cards there are right now, and there'd be more powerful cards that would pop up because they would become the new meta. They would become broken. You're never going to get rid of power creep. But they've put a curve, it feels like. It doesn't seem as drastic. I don't know. I honestly don't know, guys. Maybe it's just me looking through rose-tinted glasses, but I can at least say with confidence in this video that they've changed the way they do their core sets, and I love it. And this is a personal thing, like I said, that you have to agree with. They've done that, and it's awesome to see, because now they're going through all the old Yu-Gi-Oh stuff they printed for decades, like almost 2 decades worth, and saying, what do we want to make? What do we want to make a new archetype of? You know, like, what are they going to do next? Are they going to make a Mystic Elf archetype, maybe? A Giant Soldier of Stone archetype? Maybe they'll make a Battle Ox deck. I don't know. Like, you don't know. You can't tell me that it couldn't happen. It could. They've done it for other iconic cards, guys. They have. Celtic Guardian, I think, is going to be on the list here soon enough. I got a feeling. But that's just my opinion. But back on track. You can't deny that they've changed the way they do core set releases, how they do their core sets, how they create them, how they structure them. And I love it. It's up to you to determine if you feel like there's been a little bit of a curve when it comes to power creep to some degree. And I think part of it's got to do with the anime. I really do. And I think the fact that they're not making the anime of the week dot deck and having to put that in as pack filler, they get to focus on other things, which is awesome. So, tell me, do you like the way Konami's doing things? Do you see some of these things as well? Please leave a discussion down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. This has been something I've had discussions, very good discussions with my friends, and so I wanted to talk all about it, all of what I've seen, what I've discussed about with other people, what they say, you know, because everybody feels a little bit differently, but they can all admit one thing, that there has been a change. So, love to hear your thoughts down below, guys. Till next time, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling, look forward to seeing your comments down below, and good luck dueling to all of you. Take care, guys.